Can we talk about the Q? Because I have serious issues with the Q, and I think
the Q.
Yeah, I mean,
you can. This is a safe space.
I mean, I've
Jamie.
never.
I mean,
well, I should.
until it gets broadcast.
Well, I was going to say, first of all, it says something about this, that half of what we've discussed right now would be qualified as violent right. language. We are saying things that are murdering people. This is the kind of rhetoric that is now used in these sorts of discussions. I think that's a problem. But put that aside.
Glad just put us all on a list.
Right. I've always had.
We're already on all of those.
We're on the list.
I've always had a problem with the term queer, and it's partly maybe because I'm a historian and I've written a book and I understand that queer was oftentimes the last thing a gay person heard before his head was bashed in with a brick. So there's that. Fag was the word that I.
By the way, what's amazing to me, I don't want to stop you, but what's amazing to me is, if anything would be the kind of language that could trigger someone, if you accept the rules that they have,
right,
about no oppressive language, yes, not even the slightest connection to anything that could be regarded as an ist of some kind. But because it traumatizes people, but queer, a word that actually really does have those stigmatizing and triggering effects on a lot of gay people. Now, let's even exaggerate this and say only those over 40 have experienced that kind of abuse in that way. But still, they exist, don't they?
Yeah.
And suddenly queer is imposed.
Right.
Those who say they feel triggered and hurt by it are told to shut the fuck up. This has been a wonderful repurposing of it. The New York Times uses now queer people.
Yes.
The term queer people to mean what?
Yeah.
Like, what does that include? What does it now, am I being just pedantic here? It does seem to me that if there are as many straight people as gay people in an LGBTQ to IA plus 2S movement, then it ceases to be a gay movement.
Well, there's two problems with. I think. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Katie.
I think we should reclaim the term queer and make it so that straight people can't say it, so they have to say the Q word.
I would support that, absolutely. But it seems that actually the only people who use the word queer, it seems, are like really professional type activist-y type gay people, and then like really woke straight people. Like, I actually don't have many gay friends who identify as queer, who use that term. It seems like something that has been imposed from a small activist loud minority in cahoots with sort of a kind of straight woke group of people. I mean, my problem
about that dynamic is that the straight woke people can't ever push back against even the craziest far left queer stuff, because to do so is to be homophobic, because they make no distinction between an argument and a person or an argument and a skin color. So they're always surrendering, and because they're also don't want to be charged in any way with being homophobic, and they fear that if they say anything against what these people are saying, they'll be tarred that way. So the thing gets ratcheted massively out of proportion to where it might otherwise be.
Well, it just seems that there's a fundamental disagreement in terms of the word queer. I think it was originally adopted by people in the 90s, like Queer Nation and whatnot, to basically say we are part of a sexual vanguard, and we reject bourgeois values. We reject your gay marriage. We reject your gays in the military. We reject your white picket fence, which is fine. You know what? Like, I am, again, a pluralist, to each his own. It's the imposition of that word and that meaning on the rest of us. It's the kind of.
I assume that. I think the people who originated that word probably dislike the fact that it has become the catch-all term for sexual minorities, because you're right, this was a political stance, and now it means IKEA couches and vodka brands, and it's capital. It's not punk. It's just the catch-all.
And then there's this phenomenon, maybe you've written about this, Katie, of what I like to call queer face, which is sort of people who are, for all intents and purposes, straight, just announcing one day, I'm queer. And,
it's a get out of jail free card. If you've done something, if you've offended people, just come out as bisexual.
Right. I'm part of the queer community. And I find it offensive.
Right.
I'm not offended by much, but I am offended by this because it seems like it's a lot easier to do this than, it's very hard to pull off a Rachel Dolezal. Like that's, you're gonna get caught and you're gonna get condemned pretty and ridiculed. But queerness, it's like anyone can just, it's like a piece of jewelry now, and you can just put it on, and you can apply for certain jobs or certain fellowships as a queer person. It's really one of the easiest sort of minority identities to exploit.